Hi, I'm Lynette Carrington from Scottsdale.com, and I'm coming to you live from J. Levine Auction and Appraisal in Scottsdale. They're located here on the southeast corner of Scottsdale Road and Shea, and they're having a 3-day auction starting today. You will not believe the things that they have. Of course, they always have the finest in art, jewelry, collectibles, Native American things, gorgeous vintage furniture, but really the star of the show this time is a group of treasures from 2 Spanish galleons, the Nuestra, Senora de Atocha and the Santa Margarita. And I'm going to introduce you to Josh Levine, who is the owner and auctioneer, and he's going to tell us all about these fabulous items. Hi!
Hi, but you pronounced everything better than I could have already, so that was great. Yeah, this is a beautiful collection we found on the bottom of the sea. No, we didn't find it. It was actually sunk in 1622 off the Florida Keys and was unearthed a few years back by actually a local resident. Had a lot to do with it. A gentleman from Prescott Valley had a lot to do with the find of this collection. And there were many legal battles over this collection because the state of Florida said, "Hey, that's ours. Thanks for finding $422 million." And also,
thanks, Florida.
And then Spain said, "No, that's ours. You know, thanks for finding it for us. King Philip III's on those coins. That means it's ours." So it's a really, really neat story. But luckily, the family got to keep it and found it and painstakingly hunted it down. And true treasure hunting. I mean, really, rare opportunity that you could own a piece of this. So.
Sure, and all of the auction items from these particular galleons, these are going to go up for auction today. Is that correct?
Exactly. Today,
okay.
all the silver sells today. Today's most of the antiques and collectibles and musical instruments and all that. But this collection's today, and this is really amazing. Where you can find a 14-pound bar of Spanish silver from 1622.
This is heavy.
Yeah. Oh no, you could work out with that. Yeah, I mean it's awesome, and you can see the old smelting techniques. You could see, I mean, they used to just make, and they would melt down the silver and pour it into very crude looking by today's standards, but they still hallmarked everything. You'll see the numbers to identify it, and if you flip it over, there's the hallmarks right there.
Look at that.
Yeah, and they've been corroded a little bit by the sea, but otherwise it's in pretty good shape for how they found it. Just like that old candlestick, you can imagine that's part of a candlestick or candelabrum that was on the seafloor. Can you imagine if anybody see the movie The Deep other than me with David Soul?
I saw that.
It's a very odd reference movie. It was popular because of Jaws, but it was about a similar story to this. They would go to the bottom of the sea and they had these sea vacuums where they were sucking up these coins, literally. You know, can you imagine? You know, you're finding all this treasure on the bottom. But here's an opportunity for someone to own these coins. Like these coins, the starting bid was $75. We estimate them to be $300 to $500. But to own a piece of seriously sea treasure, and it's the real deal. It's not, everything has certificates of authenticity. They documented every piece as they brought it from the seafloor. So.
That's incredible, and this is truly, this is owning a piece of history. You can come out to J. Levine's and buy a piece of history. This is incredible. If you want all the full details on everything that's going to be up for auction over the course of the next 3 days, just visit jlevines.com. That's JLEVINES.com. I see something over here that I'd like to take home. Can we talk about this little gem right here?
Yeah, this is actual raw emerald, and this is the way they would transport it before it was made into jewelry. I mean, this is the real deal. I mean, it was them, and you can see this is ready raw to be cut, but it's a beautiful emerald. It's never been touched, but can you imagine having something made out of that or cut down for a loved one, and somebody making something out of that and saying this is from 1622 from a sunken treasure ship? I mean, that's just
gorgeous.
Awesome.
In your professional opinion, do you feel like a piece, like a gem like that, would retain more of its value just mounted as it is instead of being cut?
Honestly, with gems, you know, it's a great question. I'd actually cut it. I actually would. And a lot of times I wouldn't. But in that case, versus the raw, I think the story is so much more amazing. And why not have it worked? You know what I mean? You know, there's certain things that I wouldn't, but I would have it work. Like the candlestick. I mean, if you had it made into something, it would just be good. Whereas the coin, they would just mount that as jewelry. Or, you know, which to a coin collector is actually kind of blasphemy. Most coins, they want them in their state, but not with a coin like that. Shipwreck coins, they're okay with making jewelry and things like that.
Sure. And the setting that they go in to make a necklace is pretty standard.
Exactly.
And doesn't damage the piece in any way. How many pieces are you going to have out of the galleons collection?
There's only, I believe, 35 in this collection, somewhere give or take, 30 or 35. I can't remember off the top of my head because we have 500 lots today. But it's in that realm, and it's the way the family who invested in this got their dividends. Like the collection has been split up amongst many people that invested in the trip. That, you know, when you do something like that, you'll hear stories. You'll watch Discovery, and they'll say, "We did a treasure find, and they have like $5 million into just going to look for it."
Right.
Because you're paying for the crew and you're paying for that. So it becomes an investment group.
Sure.
And then for the family to get their dividends, they get some of the treasure. It's kind of a neat story. I didn't know they did things like that until we had this auction.
So to fully appreciate everything that is up for auction, you have to realize all the time, the effort, the money, the blood, sweat, and tears, legal proceedings, everything that went into effect just to bring these items to auction. So again, the full details are at jlevines.com. Let's go back and talk about this pre-Civil War era guitar. This is incredible.
Yeah, a lot of people don't know. I owned a vintage music store myself for about 10 years in Pennsylvania, and I have never, and I'm from Pennsylvania where Martin Guitars was originally from, in Nazareth, Pennsylvania, and you will never find another we call it Martin. They don't have a guitar like this. I mean, this is Brazilian rosewood, which has been banned since the 60s. It's in playable condition. It's a parlor guitar, and it's of today's standard. I mean, it really is. It's the finest example we've ever found. Antoine, one of our sales reps here, was a vintage guitar collector for 40 years, and he just absolutely said, "I've never seen anything like it" as well. It's just so rare. The MIM Museum should be all over this. I mean, they really should be. It's a great collection.
It's absolutely gorgeous, and I wouldn't even know just by looking at it up close that it was that old.
Yeah.
What is the estimate on this?
I think we have an estimate $8,000 to $12,000, which is quite conservative. I mean, guitars like this can bring in the hundreds of thousands of dollars, but when you get into the parlor guitars, it's a different collectible because today's collector wants the dreadnought. They want the big hunk, the big country guitar.
Right.
Where like a Martin D28 from 1940, 1939 can bring $250,000, and this is actually about 80 years older than that. So its age sometimes is not. It's the desirability of the make and model. Like a Gibson Les Paul from the 50s is worth more than one from a Gibson from the 20s. But to a collector, this is as good as it gets. And it has its original coffin case. I love that.
Isn't that great?
Yeah.
And the craftsmanship on this is just amazing.
Yeah.
They just don't make them like that
No,
anymore.
they just don't.
Absolutely gorgeous. And the coffin case,
I love
that in and of itself is... that's a conversation
Exactly.
because it's so interesting, and it does indeed look like a coffin.
It does look like a coffin, doesn't it?
We have one more item, or a couple more items around the corner that we'd like to talk to you about. This is a beautiful terracotta bust, so we're gonna go over here and talk about that.
You don't want to talk about your relatives or anything over here? I'm just teasing.
I don't know these guys.
You don't know these guys? I
No.
thought this was Uncle Bob. No, come on over here.
Uncle Bob.
Yeah, this is the terracotta. This is from the artist. This artist right here was born in 1735 and passed in 1820. He was known for doing portrait busts. Yes, you could have your painting, as a portrait, but you could also have a portrait bust if you could afford it. And this is a real terracotta French from about 1780 in our best guesstimate, because no one has been able to identify who the gentleman is. But for you to be able to afford that, it's someone important. But we have sent it to so many different museums and collectors and collections, and no one can figure out who the gentleman is. I'm sure someone out there knows, and they just won't tell us. But we've submitted it to everyone. We've even used
great Uncle Bob.
Oh, we were actually thinking it was General Lafayette at one point. It came from Adams County, Pennsylvania. We know that's the last we can trace it back to. We know it's from France, but it came from Adams County, Pennsylvania. It was a family here in Arcadia that's really well known for bringing a Pennsylvania farmhouse in 1971, bringing it and moving it to Arcadia, stone by stone. They built it to spec. So it's a really cool. All those oil paintings came from descendants of their family.
That's incredible.
No one in the family wants it, so it's going out treasure for the next person.
That's gorgeous. And there are so many neat items that are going to be up for auction over the course of next 3 days. Today is going to be all of the Spanish galleon treasure, and there will also be What else? You have your
there's-
antiques and
yeah,
collectibles
antiques,
today.
collectibles, all the furnishings in here, the
Okay.
antique furniture, which ranges from the 18th century all the way up to mid-century modern,
Right.
and contemporary rugs, oriental rugs, you name it. A lot of Native American, a lot of Chinese antiques and collectibles. That's always on Thursday. Friday we have all the art and sculpture. All these art and sculpture. Saturday's always jewelry day here, so people really love that. We always have estate jewelry, Lalique, all the pretty stuff.
And Nicholas, my friend over in jewelry, gave this to me, not to keep unfortunately, but to wear. This is a beautiful black onyx and coral necklace done in a sort of a 1940s style, and it can also be converted into a necklace and bracelet. And I'm not kidding you, this thing weighs over a pound. It's really heavy.
Oh yeah, real onyx will do that.
It's a gorgeous, gorgeous set, and as beautiful as this is, there are 150, 200 more pieces just as beautiful. Rings, necklaces, all kinds of pendants, beautiful, beautiful things. And I'm also really excited about the Airtays that you're going to be auctioning off, because I'm a huge fan of art, and I noticed you have like, what, 10 or 12 of them?
Oh
They're
yeah, and the
absolutely
framing.
beautiful.
Whoever paid, I've never seen the framing like that. I don't know if you have. I mean, that framing is just so exquisite. It's not the norm. And
Right.
people don't think they can afford this. This is one of the things I really want to
Let's go over and look at this.
Sure, let's
Come
go
on.
over and look at it. Yeah, I mean, the framing and the inlaid framing, and it just. But one of the things is people think they can afford this stuff, and every time I tell them the realized prices after the fact, they go, "What do you mean that was only $300?
Right.
You couldn't get it framed for $300." It's
Exactly.
and that's people don't realize the values today at auction, and that's what we're here to tell everybody. That's how I would shop if I was, in the market for any of this. But everyone thinks my house is full. I'm not. I'm here I work too much. I'm here all the time.
These pieces are so incredibly beautiful. I would love for you to come down and join us in person. They will be auctioning things today, tomorrow, and also on Saturday. Your auction starts today at 11, is that right?
11 o'clock. It'll be live online too. So if you just go to jlevines.com and hit live, you can watch the whole auction live, or you can actually attend in person. We welcome anyone, anytime. Come on down. We're here. We'll be here 9 to 5 the next 3 days, and it's open to the public. And doesn't it look like a museum? I tell everybody, come check it out.
And what's really neat is they do a 3-day auction at it's the last Thursday, Friday, and Saturday of every single month. And if you come down in person, it's different every time you come down.
Oh, yeah.
It literally is like being in a museum, and you see everything, and you get to learn the background and the history and the story, and really appreciate the craftsmanship and the work and the time and effort that goes into bringing these items to you at J. Levine's Auction and Appraisal. So physically, we're on the southeast corner of Scottsdale and Shea, and you can find all the rest of the information on individual items that are in this 3-day auction at jlevines.com, JLEVINES.com. And we will probably see you in a few weeks when we will be coming to you live from Falcon Field with a special collection of
Automobile. Oh yeah, planes, trains, and automobiles. Wait till you see it.
It's going to be really exciting. So we'll see you again in just a few weeks. And please stop by the auction. And until next time, I'm Lynette Carrington with Scottsdale.com.